never believed in haunted houses. Not really. I thought the stories people told were just a way to explain fear of old, broken-down places. But last fall, I went into a house that should have been nothing more than decaying wood and silence. What I found still follows me in my sleep. It started with a rumor. A house deep in the woods that no one had lived in for decades. They called it the Nest House, and people said the walls could talk. I didn't buy it. I was just looking for some interesting shots for my photography portfolio. When I pulled up, the sun was almost gone, and the whole place was swallowed in shadow. The door was half hanging off its hinges. I stepped inside, my flashlight sweeping across a hallway covered in dust and fallen plaster. The air felt thick, like the house didn't want to breathe me in. I snapped a few photos, wandered through rooms filled with rotting furniture and broken windows, until I found the stairs. They groaned with every step, like they hadn't been touched in years. Upstairs, everything was still and cold. I checked each room. Empty. But the last door at the end of the hallway, something about it made my stomach twist. I opened it, and inside was a small room completely covered in old wallpaper. Floor to ceiling. Pale flowers faded to gray. And then I heard it. A whisper. I froze. My light flickered. At first I thought it was wind. But the whisper was inside the room, soft and steady, like someone breathing words into the walls. I turned in circles, trying to find the source. That's when I noticed something strange. Writing underneath the wallpaper. Faint lines beneath the faded pattern. I got closer. They weren't just scribbles. They were names. Hundreds of names, etched by hand. Some were half erased. Some looked fresh. And near the bottom of the wall I found mine. Not just my first name, my full name, spelled exactly the way I write it. I stepped back fast. My flashlight dimmed again, and the whispers grew louder. Stay! I spun around. The door was still open, but something was moving behind me. A soft ripple on the wall, like the wallpaper was breathing. And then I felt it, a cold touch on my back. I didn't wait to look. I bolted. Down the hallway. Down the stairs. The front door slammed shut as I reached it. I twisted the handle, but it wouldn't move. The whispers were behind me now, clear and layered. You're written. You belong. I smashed the window and dove out, cutting my hands on the glass. I didn't stop running until I saw the lights of my car. I never went back. But a week later, my brother did. He thought I was overreacting and went to grab my gear. When he came back, he said the wallpaper was gone. Replaced by photographs. Photographs of me. It was supposed to be a dare. Just one night in the old Graymore house, alone. I never expected to find something that would take a part of me and never give it back. My friends and I had been drinking by the lake when Jamie brought up the house. He said it had a room where sound didn't exist. Like if you screamed, nothing came out. I laughed it off. But then he bet me $100 to sleep there until sunrise. I was broke, so I said yes. The house was farther out than I thought. Covered in vines and leaning like it was tired of standing. I walked in through the broken porch, flashlight in one hand, sleeping bag on my back. The floor creaked, but otherwise, everything was dead quiet. Too quiet. I went exploring, half joking to myself. Come on, ghosts. I'm here. Nothing. Until I found a door at the end of a narrow hallway. It wasn't like the others. It had no knob, just a small symbol carved into the wood. A spiral. I pushed it open. Inside was a windowless room with black painted walls. No furniture. Just a single mattress in the middle of the floor. I stepped in and the air changed. Heavier. My flashlight dimmed to a weak yellow, then went out. I called out, "Hello," but heard nothing. No echo. Not even the sound of my own voice. I clapped my hands. Nothing. It was like sound had been sucked out of existence. My phone light helped a bit. I sat on the mattress, trying to convince myself it was just insulation or something. But then I felt the vibration, like someone was whispering directly into my bones. I stood, looked around. Nothing. But when I turned back to the door, it was gone. Not closed, gone. Just a black wall where it had been. I ran to it, pressed my hands against the surface, but it was solid. I screamed. But again, no sound. Just the pounding of my heartbeat. And then, I wasn't alone. In the far corner of the room, something moved. I could only see its outline. A tall shape, impossibly still, watching me. I backed away, trembling. It didn't follow. But every time I looked away, it got closer. Like it only moved when I blinked. I curled into the corner, trying not to shut my eyes. Hours passed. Maybe more. My phone died. Darkness swallowed me whole. When I opened my eyes again, it was morning. The door was back. The house was silent. I ran all the way to the road, barefoot, holding my breath like sound would vanish again if I made a noise. Now, weeks later, I still can't sleep, because every night, I dream of that room, of being mute, of the tall thing watching. And when I wake up, my ears ring, not with sound, but silence. When my uncle passed, he left me an old farmhouse in his will. I'd only met him once as a child. He was strange, quiet, distant, but I remembered how he stared at the ceiling as if something up there scared him. I never forgot that look. I drove out to the house alone. It was isolated, surrounded by dead trees and fences eaten by rust. The air smelled like dust and memory. The key was still under the welcome mat, just like the lawyer said. The place was untouched. Furniture covered in white sheets. Photographs on the wall faded with time. I wandered the rooms, touching old furniture like it might whisper secrets to me. Everything was normal, until I opened the attic. The smell hit me first. Damp, old wood, and something metallic. I climbed the ladder slowly, flashlight in my mouth, heart thudding. The attic was full of boxes. Hundreds, all labeled with dates, and all full of photographs. But not normal photos. These were Polaroids, thousands of them, each one showing the same living room, the same angle, the same composition. But in every photo, the person sitting on the couch changed. Some were children, some were adults, some looked terrified, others unconscious. One thing was always the same, the figure behind the couch. In every photo, there was a shadowy figure standing just behind the person, blurred, face hidden, tall, always watching. I flipped through the boxes, my hands shaking. The most recent date was 2 days before my uncle died. And the person in the photo was me, sitting on the couch, wearing the exact clothes I wore now. I dropped the photo and backed away, slamming into something behind me. I turned. Nothing. Just boxes. I grabbed my bag, ran down the ladder, and was halfway to the car when I noticed it. The couch. Through the window, I saw it. Empty. But in the reflection of the glass, someone stood behind it. Exactly where the figure had always been. I couldn't sleep for days after hearing those stories. I didn't just listen to them. I felt them. Each one had a weight that stayed with me, like dust on the lungs. They came from people who shouldn't have been able to tell them. People who ran. People who saw too much and never healed. I kept thinking about the woman from the hotel. She moved away, changed her name, started over. But last month I got an anonymous email. No message, just a photo attachment. I opened it. It was her, standing in the hallway. That same hallway. Only now, she wasn't moving, just staring into the dark. Behind her, a figure, smiling. I tried to trace the email. Nothing. Then I thought about the boy who saw the man under the floorboards. He stopped talking after that. His family said he refused to sleep near any kind of vent. Said he could hear the nails scratching. I reached out to them again. They told me he disappeared last year. No signs of forced entry. No footprints. Only his shoes, perfectly aligned by the fireplace. And then, the man from the attic. The photographs. I don't know why, but I kept the one he mailed me. The last photo taken in that house. He sent it before he vanished. I'd left it in a drawer. Forgotten. Until I opened the drawer and found another photo beside it. Same angle. Same couch. But now, I was in it. Sitting alone. With something behind me. I checked every door in my house. Every window. Everything was locked. But that didn't calm me. If what they saw followed them home, why wouldn't it follow me? Lately, I hear creaks upstairs, where there's no floor. I see shadows on the wall that don't match my movements. I feel watched. Last night I had a dream. I was walking through an abandoned hallway, flickering lights, cold air, and I heard 3 voices. They all said the same thing. Now it's your turn. I couldn't ignore it anymore. The whispers, the static in my phone calls, the way mirrors seemed to reflect more than just me. I decided to go back, not to their houses, to one of my own. When I was 12, I had a nightmare that stuck with me. I was trapped in a house with no doors, only walls that whispered. Now, decades later, that house appears in my dreams again. But this time it's not just a dream. It's real. I found it. Deep in the woods, hidden behind vines and rot, stood a house I'd never seen, but instantly recognized. I shouldn't have gone inside, but I did. The floor creaked like it remembered my steps. The walls were peeling, but beneath the paint, I could make out names. Names of the 3 people who told me their stories. Each room had an object. The old camera, the vent grate, a child's shoe. At the center of the house was a door, heavy, black, and something behind it knocking, not to get out but to let me in. I should have run, but I opened it. There was nothing, just silence. Then, darkness poured in like liquid, cold, thick, familiar, and I realized the stories weren't meant to be told. They were meant to trap. Each one passed on a piece of the curse. Each one needed a new listener. And now that listener was me. They're gone. And I'm still here. For now. So if you've listened to me all the way through, if you felt something watching as I spoke, if your lights flickered just once, then I've passed it on. Welcome to the house.